To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hello and welcome, everybody. It is Kingdom Report Live time. Once again, happy Saturday to you, and you are joining us live from the Warner Brothers Studios Media District here in beautiful Burbank, California. I'm Wade Heath, and we are coming to you via the iHeartRadio app as well as iTunes and, of course, Facebook Live. And if you're not already subscribed to us on YouTube, you should do so. Head on over to the Kingdom Report on YouTube. Go ahead, click that subscribe button and the little notification bell. That way you are always told when we have new things to offer. Who's we exactly? Well, why don't we introduce ourselves a little bit, huh? As I had mentioned, Wade Heath here, joined by my decent friends. We'll leave it at that. Former Disney cast member, Shirin Haririnia.
That's it.
Yeah?
That's how you say it.
Pitch it for us. How does it sound coming out of your mouth, that last name?
Shirin Haririnia.
She says it a lot better than you do.
Wow.
I mean, just how it's spelled with the R's and the I's.
I don't think anybody could assume that based on how they read it. So we'll let you say your own last name from now on, cool. I think. And then from AttractionFaction.net, ladies and gentlemen, the man that ascends from the heavens to grace us with his presence once a week, Mr. Tyler Crouch.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you, Wade. That's very kind of you.
I
don't ever do such things, but yeah, well, I like to think I do.
You bring that aura to the room.
Wow.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Wow. Now, if only I could bring Oreos to the room.
And
I love a good Oreo.
There's how it gets put right over the top for us. Thank you very much. And of course, the gentleman that makes the world turn, producer Curt.
How you doing, man?
I'll tell you, Curt.
Yeah.
Just fine.
That's good to hear.
I'm feeling it.
You know, I wouldn't expect any less.
I'm feeling it, and on top of that, I got some magic in me. How about you?
I mean, I found my pins from the move, so I'm very happy.
So you you moved here in Southern California. You recently found a new home to go to.
Correct.
And you lost your pins up until this point. Is that right?
I was very upset, but I have them now. So
and what is your favorite pin?
I was
on
about
your
to ask. Yeah, I need to know.
You know, Tyler, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I know. You are the host. You got this.
Probably my Mission Space one. I like that one a lot.
Really?
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I like that ride. I like that pin.
You mentioned you have a hoop-de-doo.
I do.
So people might want to see you though.
Let me actually put it on so you can actually see. That's my hoop-de-doo one. Oh, that's my Mission Space one.
I didn't know there was a hoop-de-doo pin, so it's kind of cool.
It's the best restaurant ever.
Debatable. Whoa. Okay, let's move on.
And that's what this show is all about. we will debate those topics here one day. Absolutely. But that isn't it. No, we also have another member of our team out in Walt Disney World. It's Gared on the Go time. Let's go. Gared on the Go time. Our Walt Disney World reporter is live at EPCOT. Gared, I wouldn't even guess where you are right now because it's so hard to tell. Where are you at?
I am in a very sacred place. I'm on hallowed ground. It is a place to the north of us, and that's according to everyone in America except for Alaska.
Oh.
I am in the Great White North, known as Canada. I'm in the Canadian Pavilion, and behind me you have a lovely building that you can't see all of, and on the other side you see the backside of water. No, Canada's back area just recently opened, and I figured what a beautiful place to come to because no one's seen it in about 7 or 8 months.
The backside of Canada, one of my favorite locations to visit, geographically speaking, and I think that you are in Canada for a very specific reason. A lot going on at EPCOT right now. Tell us about it.
So Canada's got some good poutine, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But no, more importantly, Canada has reopened its backside area, as you stated, and they have a new show called Canada Far and Wide. It's similar to what Canada had before. It's a Circle Vision show, and for those that may not know or have not had the opportunity to come to Epcot, Circle Vision is where there are cameras 360 degrees in a room, so pretty much it could be a shot there, then a shot there, then a shot there, everywhere. So it's a truly immersive experience. It's something that Walt Disney Imagineering and the Walt Disney Company created. No one else had done it before. And Canada Far and Wide has just opened as of yesterday, and it has two great narrators for it. It has Eugene Levy from the American Pie series, which I remember. The name sounds familiar, but I'm better with faces. As well as Catherine O'Hara, and I have yet to have the opportunity to go see it, but I am looking forward to it because while Canada is very nice, the nicest people you'll probably ever meet, they do have some humor. Personally, I'm saddened that they didn't have Ryan Reynolds as the narrator, but I don't write the checks for Disney.
That could have been really incredible to have had Ryan Reynolds as the host of Canada's big Circle Vision spectacular. Anybody going to miss Martin Short in the latest or the last version, I should say?
I will miss Martin Short. I wonder if Martin Short will miss Martin Short. Like, I wonder if he's like sad that he's not going to be a part of it anymore. But yeah, I will miss it. But I haven't seen the new one yet, so I don't know which one. I don't know if I'm going to be disappointed or
Sure.
if if it's going to be exciting. But I do like that old show, so
Yeah.
it'll be missed.
When was the last time you got to see it? Or have you?
Oh my gosh, I actually haven't seen it.
What?
But Disney does new stuff for a reason, so I'm excited to see what they do.
Absolutely. Well, I think that now there's even more of a reason to check out the new one
Exactly.
for you. Yeah, I got to
Exactly.
get you in that building. So in terms of the new films coming to Epcot, what else should we know? Because a lot of things happened yesterday. If you're watching us live, a lot of things happened on Friday the 17th. What else is going on out there?
So another thing, I'm gonna stick with World Showcase, and then I'll go to other parts of it. So also over in the France Pavilion, they now have the Beauty and the Beast sing along show, which is sort of like a Lion King 1.5, where you know how Timon and Pumbaa told the story of Lion King, but from their perspective made it a little silly. This time it tells the story sort of from LeFou's perspective, and everyone knows LeFou is a bad guy. He's kind of like a funny bad guy, where he's not intentionally a bad guy. It's because of Gaston.
He's a henchman.
Gaston's technically the hero, but we're not going to get into that because I'll win.
Oh.
But, yeah. So from 11 a.m. to I believe 7 p.m. they have the Beauty and the Beast sing along, and then from 7:30 to 9 o'clock they have the Impressions of France, and this is over in, as Wade always likes to hear me say, is over in the Palais du Cinéma over in France, the France Pavilion. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, thank you for that.
But also over in the France Pavilion, the sign for Gusteau's restaurant, if you do not know, Gusteau is the chef that helped inspire Remy the rat in the film Ratatouille, and it has finally been placed in front of the attraction Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. I'm not going to try saying it in French. Okay, you got it. Ratatouille, Remy le ticket de Remy, I'll remember.
I appreciate you making the attempt.
Better than I could do.
Yeah.
But so the attraction is really coming together. Whenever you ride the Skyliner, you will see the progress made over there, and they have made substantial. There is finishing paint going on, smaller details going on, which Imagineering is known for. Additionally, like the queue is really coming together. So that whole area of France is just really coming together piece by piece. And spring 2020, so in a couple months, that attraction should be open. I'm looking forward to it because I've ridden it over in Disneyland Paris, and it's a phenomenal ride. So I can't wait to have it out here again. So that's going on over in France.
So even though they're putting up a restaurant sign, right? Like they're not building a restaurant there, right? Like it's just the ride. Even because in Disneyland Paris they do have a restaurant as well, but they won't have the restaurant here, right?
So that's sort of a tricky question because they are building a restaurant. It's just a restaurant that you will be the size of a mouse for, so you cannot actually dine there. because in the ride, yeah. So sorry, I wanted to be a little tricky, but no, it is not going to build.
I was like, what is he talking about for a second? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. If you haven't gone on the ride, you become a rat and you go around. So everything is 5 times larger than life, probably even larger than that. But there is a restaurant in that area. It's going to be a creperie. It's not going to be like the little side one that they have where it's just like small rolls. These are going to be gourmet crepes that you can sit at, enjoy, and I personally am going to get down on the jambon avec fromage, which is the ham and cheese.
Sounds good.
Delightful. Yeah. And who doesn't love
dining review on that with Wade Heath and Gared.
Amen to that. Yeah, and there's nothing like a good creperie, I like to say. So, and tell us, in the year of the rat, Lunar New Year style, they are debuting an attraction based on a family of rats, which I think is fantastic. You having been on it out in Paris, what would you say is the greatest thing about that attraction?
The ride technology is simply astounding. It's a trackless ride system, and while Disney has incorporated this a little bit out here, such as with Tower of Terror and Guardians of the Galaxy, but yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy attraction, but especially Rise of the Resistance, that trackless ride system is truly revolutionary because the cars do not have a set path anymore. They can move multiple ways and interact with other vehicles around them, and the storytelling in there is just amazing. So there's a lot to it, but I think the trackless ride system is the coolest thing because there'll be 4 rats and they'll all go different paths and then they'll wind around and dance. So it's very, very interesting, very interesting to see it.
Freewheeling and free roaming, just like your mind. Hey, Gared, tell me what else is happening in Walt Disney World?
So over in the Land Pavilion, they now have an amazing film, short film called Awesome Planet, and it is narrated by Ty Burrell, who's from Modern Family, and it pretty much it showcases how beautiful our planet is. Granted, we've never lived anywhere else, so this is all we have. But it talks about all the beauty that nature has. Such as having these waterfalls, that's nature at work. No one could create these except at Walt Disney World. People created these ones, but in nature, it's going to showcase nature, the volcanoes, the oceans, the forests, just about how beautiful it is, and it's a film about conservation and how we should try and keep our planet alive and take care of it because this is the only place we have. Elon Musk has not yet gotten us to Mars or the moon, so for right now we're stuck on this blue little rock and the great dark beyond.
Wow, words to live by. Thank you for the inspiration. I want to turn to my panel here. Out of these 3 films, Beauty and the Beast Sing Along, Awesome Planet, Canada Far and Wide, what do you think you would want to see the most?
I'd probably go with Canada Far and Wide.
And why is that?
I don't know. I guess that's the one that I'm most interested to see at what the changes have been. I know that the previous film that was there was very comedy based, and I know Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy do a lot of comedy and whatnot. But at the same time, I'm just curious to see the tonal changes. I'm curious to see, and correct me if I'm wrong too. They got rid of like the black bars that used to divide the screens, and that was one of the most kind of distracting things. So I'm gonna be happy to see that gone too. So
yeah,
I think that's probably the one I'm most curious about. I'm also curious about Beauty and the Beast, but
more so Canada.
I know they changed the story a little bit in Beauty and the Beast, and I've heard some weird things about it. I don't want to say what they did, but
yeah, as Gared had mentioned, there's sort of the Lion King 1.5 type approach.
Yeah, but they even changed it even more than that. I feel like, but at least from what I've heard. But so that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would enjoy it, but it sounds interesting.
Very good. Yeah. Well, Shirin, what about you? Most looking forward to which film?
Probably Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah? You like to sing along?
I love to sing. It's super fun. And I love the characters, like the whole storyline. That movie is just great.
Favorite character out of Beauty and the Beast?
Oh my gosh. Probably Mrs. Potts.
Yeah?
Just relate to her. She's adorable. She's a mother figure. She takes care of everybody.
Very nurturing.
Yeah.
You're a recent mother.
I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You were gifted a sweet rabbit.
A beautiful baby boy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
his name. What does your rabbit's name go? I was just about to ask.
It's Ben Solo.
Ben Solo.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
You should have brought him.
I really wanted to. He's still a baby. He would just sit right here beside me and hang out, but he'd probably freak out a little.
Would have been great.
Yeah,
Quite a moment, yes, to have to have the child
I know.
join us. I think would have been kind of amazing. And before we jump back to Gared, Curt, what about you and all of your wisdom when it comes to EPCOT? Film you're most looking forward to?
Probably the Awesome Planet, though.
Yep.
I like stuff like that. I like seeing stuff, volcanoes and destruction, and it's just, it's
Global warming. And
global warming. Yes.
big ice shelves melting. And, yeah.
Global warming's not a thing, is it?
No, I have no idea.
I believe it's now called climate change.
Climate change, right? Yes, I'm sorry.
And ladies, yeah. I believe
Point of
it's
order.
climate change now.
Is what we like to say around here.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Well, very good. So Gared, in wrapping up sort of what's happening in Walt Disney World, anything else we should be aware of?
there's always stuff going on here. But as of yesterday, the Festival of the Arts, my favorite festival here at EPCOT, has officially opened.
Oh.
So as you walk around EPCOT, you will see lovely tent set up with artwork, and you'll see little art sections. There is a Disney artist chalk area as you walk into World Showcase, where they pretty much paint art with chalk. They have the food experiences here that are made in art form, so it's not going to be your simple like turkey. It's going to look like artwork actually, which I think is amazing. And then aside from that, we spoke about it last time that Auntie Cowie passed away, and after her passing, they did something truly amazing where the cast members of the Polynesian Resort, and additionally the president of Walt Disney World, came out and they went onto the docks of the Polynesian Resort at sunset. And as you can see in the images there, they had ceremonial funeral lays there. And what they did was they had speeches about her in English and as well in Hawaiian. And then there were also songs just celebrating her. And then at sunset, they cast the funeral lays into Seven Seas Lagoon, which is in keeping Hawaiian tradition because it represents the circle of life. And Hawaiians are very spiritual. They are very in tune with nature. And it's truly sad, but in Hawaiians, they see it as more a celebration of their life rather than a time of sorrow because they completed their circle of life. They become one with nature again. Just like in Moana, when Moana's grandmother passed away and she becomes a spiritual stingray, I believe Auntie will truly become something and will bless us here at Walt Disney World because she was such an amazing person and did so much to make that experience so much more authentic and unique.
Very well put, and we touched on Auntie Kelly last week, as you had mentioned, and certainly somebody that had been at Walt Disney World from the beginning and helped open the Polynesian Village Resorts and came from Hawaii, was born in a thunderstorm, just has this amazing backstory. To have had the Walt Disney World president as well as cast members come together to sort of do a send-off for this very special cast member, pretty spectacular when you think about how many cast members are employed by the Walt Disney Company that, I'm not saying, the company's heartless by any means, but there are a lot of people going through a lot of things that also pass throughout the calendar year that don't necessarily get this sort of a send-off due to perhaps, different reasons, but the contributions here that were given by Auntie Cowie and the type of impact that she made has certainly warranted this type of a send-off. And I think back to, even here at Disneyland locally, we've had several cast members in the last 10 years or so, several key experience cast members that have passed, Walt era cast members that have passed as well. Chef Oscar from Carnation Cafe on Main Street being one of them. He's a guy that over the course of time had been with the restaurant and with the park for so long, and he's somebody that finally ended up retiring, and we had a huge send-off for him, and now we're getting to a place where we just don't necessarily have these Walt era cast members. Walt Disney World's now getting to a place, whether they retire or they pass on, now we're getting to a place where Walt Disney World is losing these folks and they are retiring. Those Walt era and opening day cast members, to lose those folks is a very hard thing.
Well, they're the people that have driven the culture. Like, as time has gone on and we've gotten further away from Walt passing on his ideals and things like that, it's these people who have come in and opened the things like the Polynesian who have created this cast member culture that the other cast members try to strive for. Mm-hmm. And so it's a shame. It is, again, a shame to lose these people because not only because they're great human beings, I'm sure, right, but because they have literally created the culture that you know and love when you go to your favorite resorts, and so it's very sad.
And as you had mentioned last week, obviously Richard over at the Grand Floridian, the
Right.
themed greeter there, and Christopher George Weaver, the mayor of Main Street out at Magic Kingdom. You just have these very special individuals that when you lose them, you lose a huge part of the experience, and it kind of reminds you how special being a Disney cast member is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where my love for Disney started. So.
Absolutely. Well, we say goodbye to Auntie Cowie, and certainly a very wonderful send-off for her. Gared, anything else to share with us?
Yeah, this upcoming week, just look forward to a very exciting and wild vlog. This past week, I took you the People Mover with me, but this week we went in a slightly different route, a little bit more wild and ferocious. We'll just say that. So you'll have to check out the YouTube channel to see more of my fun vlogs and my zany personality out there.
Well, the Kingdom Report on YouTube, you don't want to miss Gared's vlog on Thursday. It does sound like it's a ferocious time. Looking forward to that. Oh, you. Well, Gared, I know you'll be back with us here in just a little bit, but that wraps up Gared on the Go for this week. Why don't we move on into Disney List time? It's the Disney List, and this week I'm joined by Shirin and Tyler to talk a little bit about the best things that Downtown Disney at the Disneyland Resort, that it has to offer. And we are going to start with Shirin. When it comes to Downtown Disney, your home park is Disneyland. What do you like about Downtown Disney? I mean, it's a place that's gone through a lot of changes
Exactly.
recently.
Yeah.
And so one of the main reasons why I really wanted to talk about this is because it's lost a lot of its luster because it's gone through so many changes. And for those that don't know, Downtown Disney had some issues where it was closing up one end of it. The Disney was closing up one end of the property to make way for a hotel that at the 11th hour did not happen, unfortunately, and ended up becoming a bit of a black eye for Disney at the time, and now they've just steered away from even talking about it. But these buildings sit vacant that used to be like ESPN Zone and Rainforest Cafe, AMC Theater. So this very prominent back corner of Downtown Disney by the Disneyland Hotel is just vacant, and they're trying to add some new life to it. But I figured, why don't we focus on some of the positives, because Downtown Disney is still a great place.
Yeah. When you first asked me, I was like, "This is kind of hard," because they did get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And it has a different vibe now, but it's not a bad vibe. It's just different.
Yeah.
So I think they still have the live musicians. That's like a huge thing for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a musician myself, so being able to just still stand there and watch people sing and play. And I think that little stage is still there.
Yeah, the Downtown
So,
Disney stage.
yeah, the stage
The
and
only
people
thing to
just
draw
perform.
people to that end of the property.
Basically. That and Earl of Sandwich.
Right, yeah.
I love sandwich. Yeah, I love the music. I haven't tried the Void yet, but I really want to go into the VR. Have you guys done
Yeah, that virtual reality.
Yeah,
I
did this-
walked by several times.
I did the Star Wars and I did the Wreck-It Ralph one.
So you've been in there.
Okay,
I have,
that's
yeah.
cool.
Oh, what'd you think?
I think it's cool. I think the Star Wars one was better than Wreck-It Ralph. It's really cool the first time you do it, because you're literally walking from like room to room, and anything you see in the virtual space is actually there, like is a wall in, like if you see a wall in the virtual space, there's a wall in real life, right? So it really does transport you to this different area, and it's cool. Like there's even a point where you see like lava in front of you and they blast some heaters on your face, So it's cool things like that where you feel like you're going from space to space with your group of friends, taking on the First Order or whatever. But the Wreck-It Ralph one wasn't as fun. It was a little more confusing on some mini game stuff. But overall, I think it's a really cool experience. And if you've never done it and you're with a group of 4 people, I think it's worth it to try it once.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
Well, definitely something
Okay,
to try out
yeah,
then.
I've been meaning to. I just haven't gotten the chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, the musicians, the VR, and I really want to. I really like Blacktop.
Yeah.
I
So
was thinking of
Love it.
Blacktop. Yeah.
It's just a fun vibe, and they have crazy desserts there. So
it seems to be a real hit.
Yeah.
Since it's moved in, and
Yeah.
definitely I just hear glowing things about it. Haven't heard anything negative yet. So that's fantastic. They do the crazy shakes, right?
Yeah.
That's them.
Yeah. You got to plan your day around them because they're pretty.
Oh, yeah.
they're pretty intense.
Don't eat one of those in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's one of those places where I was initially kind of sad that when they were first opening it, I was like really excited, and then I realized, oh, it's not a table service place. It's like you go up and you order your food and then you sit down and they bring it to you. And that kind of bummed me out at first because I was hoping for another cool table service in downtown Disney, but it actually works to that place's benefit, and the food there, everything I've ever had has been amazing. So
it's sort of communal seating then. So you go order and then you go find a seat.
Yeah, they give you kind of a number, and you go and sit down, and they bring you your food, and then the all the servers there, all the runners, they're very nice. They've always accommodated me with whatever I've asked for. So it's nice. It's kind of like in that in between section, like a Panera or something.
I see.
Where it's like self-serve and
It's a fast casual
service. Yeah, fast casual. Yeah.
And Shirin, you've had their shakes before?
Yeah.
What would you say has been your favorite so far?
Oh my goodness. I've only had the two. I think cookies and cream and then the birthday one where
No.
they put like a full on confetti piece of cake on top of it. So I went there for my birthday.
Yeah.
And it was
So it's a must do.
it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they put like a whole entire cookies and cream ice cream sandwich on top of the other one.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Intense.
just that alone. It's a lot, but it's fun. It's like
Yeah.
a good environment.
And for those that don't, I guess, want to go order food and do the whole seating process, they also have a window right on the back end of it where you can walk up and order the shakes just individually.
Right.
So that's fantastic. I know as many times as I've been past there's always a line out the door, which is why I've never stopped because I'm like, oh, there's probably somewhere else I can go. It's going to be less wait. But the windows themselves at the end that just do the shakes, there was a during I'm going to say Thanksgiving, I think. They did a pumpkin pie shake where they put like a whole slab of pumpkin pie on top, and it looked amazing. So I go up because there's relatively very few people, if ever any, in line for the window just for the shakes. And so I walked up and there was one person ahead of me. I get there and I was like, can I get the pumpkin pie shake? I'm thinking like, oh, this is going to be beautiful. Can't wait to share it. They said it has to be ordered inside. Like, what is the point of your window?
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Being about shakes down here in this window if you can't serve me your specialty shakes of the
That's
season.
very strange.
Yeah, they
missing
said
out.
seasonal stuff has to go inside for some
That's
reason.
very, very strange.
I was extremely disappointed.
I would be
Would've
too.
been- Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they had a holiday one as well.
Yeah.
And I was thinking maybe I can go to that window.
stop
but
by the
this is
window.
good to know not to.
Unless it had something to
Maybe
do
that
with
day or-
you had to be seated because there was so much to it. I don't know, but they didn't explain that. They just said, "Oh yeah, sorry, because it's seasonal, it has to be inside." So that's how I took it. Seems
so strange to me.
disappointing to me.
Yeah.
They missed out on like.
Could you
an opportunity
imagine?
there.
Yeah. Could you imagine if you went through the drive-through at Starbucks and were like, "Could I get the
You gotta come
could I
in.
get the pumpkin latte, please?" And they're like, "Oh no, you got to come inside for that." Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be seated in order to
No.
get your pumpkin latte. I
No, thank you.
apologize,
In your
yes.
to-go cup. Yeah.
Well, very good. Kurt, what about you when it comes to some downtown Disney highlights for yourself? What do you like?
So there's a particular art shop. I think it's called Wonderland Art Gallery.
Underground.
Wonderground. I'm sorry. Something.
That was
close.
actually on my list. I was gonna say that one too, but go for it.
Yeah. So I just love the artwork in there. And they usually have an artist in there as well. Drawing or making a Mickey character. Or
Yeah,
some
that's
random
always really neat.
character.
Yeah.
And seeing them doing that live is always really fun. And the artwork in there it's all I think commission based off of different artists or artists doing Disney type of artwork.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful. It's nice to see the different types in there. I never have enough money to actually buy anything.
That's one of my favorite parts about Disney in general is the different locations having those pieces of art or art corners in places like I think of the Off the Page store at California Adventure. They've got obviously art everywhere in that store, and they've even got some of the designers, animators that will always be drawing the different characters and stuff like that. Definitely a highlight. I'm glad that Downtown Disney ended up shoving that on in there and allowing it to be an experience for us.
Definitely, yeah. You got to go in there. Every time I go to Downtown Disney, I go there at least once.
Yeah.
Just to see some of the new artwork and see what it looks like, and just a quick glance through.
It's the only place for me as well in downtown Disney that I stop at every single time I go to Disneyland. It was on my list as well. It's pretty much everything Kurt said. It's just got what I love about it is you go in and you can see all your favorite characters in a completely different way that you've never seen them before.
Yeah.
So I love that because it's like every day you get to see a brand new art style depicting your favorite characters. So it's cool. Very
Absolutely.
cool.
Well, what
Yeah.
else is on your list, Tyler?
So for another one from me, I'm going to say Uva Bar.
Ooh.
Which is the big bar there in the middle of everything, in the middle of downtown Disney, and it is kind of a little sister, if you will, a little brother, whatever, to the Catal restaurant that's right there, and it's got a completely different menu. than Catal does, and I love it. It's got these really great arepas that Katrina and I share that are amazing with little pork on top, and they have great hamburgers. They have a burger of the month every month, and sometimes those are like fantastic. They had a lamb burger one time that was like friggin' incredible. And you know, it's just a fun place to go. It's like I said, it's in the middle of everything. So it's just like you feel like it's happening when you're there, and it's you know, the weather is mostly nice out here in Southern California, so it's all outdoors, and it all makes sense. It's all great. So,
Shirin, you've ever been to the Uva Bar?
Not the bar, but I've been to Catal. I
Yeah.
haven't been to the bar yet.
Every time I walk by that bar, because it's always so crowded. I always feel like it's just
Sure.
it's very popular, right? It's a popular location. Every time I've ever walked by, I think, oh, another one I need to go stand in line for, and I don't. I keep walking.
Yeah.
well, I will say, unless you're with a big party, you don't even need to wait in line at that place for the most part, because if there's a bar seat open, you can just walk up and take it. So if you want to sit at one of the tables that's around the bar, then yeah, you're gonna have to wait in line. But for anybody who's like, oh, we're so hungry, you know, maybe like a couple is having a nice night, oh, we're so hungry, we need to eat something, and you see 2 little bar seats up there, just run and take them, because that's
Push past
There
the
you
guy
go.
at the podium,
Yeah.
and
That's mine.
that's
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
I'll sit there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Anything else on your list?
Well, this is it's a tough last one for me. I think I'm gonna go with World of Disney.
Oh, interesting.
Because World of Disney is one of those places that sometimes you say to yourself, you see something amazing in the park or whatever, and you're like, I got to get that before the end of the day, but I don't want to carry it around or whatever.
Sure.
And then you're leaving at the end of the night, and you're about to get on the tram, and you're like, oh no, I forgot to get that thing. And inevitably, World of Disney is probably going to have it. So, I mean, and also let's not forget about the like major upgrade they did to it in the past year, where, or I guess it's even been longer than a year now, where they've completely redone the interior.
Huge aesthetic change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and not only aesthetic change, but also story change. It's really cool. I was lucky enough to like take a tour back when it was first opening of all the different story things, like how it was first built as a bus depot, and then the bus depot closed down because nobody was doing that type of tour anymore. Then Walt found it, decided it would be a great animation studio for his 9 Old Men. And that's why when you walk in there, there's a cross, but you're going to look at the brick walls and be like, why does it say something about a bus station here? And then you look over, you know, at the cash registers, and there's ink and paint everywhere. And you're like, what is going on here? It's because there's a whole entire story that they created from back in like the 40s. This place was built, even though we all know that's not true.
Right.
And so it's the story, it's the loving creation of it that I love the most about that shop. And that's the cool thing about it too. It's a shop.
Yeah.
We're talking about a shop right now. And so I don't know. They really went out of their way to make that as Disney as possible. You can find everything you want. And yeah. So it just slightly edged out Earl of Sandwich.
Well, there's a competition. And Shirin, when it comes to downtown Disney and that whole sort of back corner next to Disneyland Hotel being as vacant as it is, if you were, to wish into existence one thing to come aboard to the downtown Disney portfolio of places to visit, whether this be a restaurant, a store, you name it, an experience, entertainment, what would you most want to see down there?
First, I thought, oh my gosh, an expansion of a park.
Oh,
But then I was like, right now, I'm like, I really miss the theater. There was like
AMC.
everyone met up there. We all saw the Avengers, or like a new like Marvel movie or Star Wars, and that theater was just really well done.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good.
This is a beautiful
hub.
theater. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they could make that even bigger into IMAX or like Dolby, that would be really cool. I don't know.
So turn
Many
that.
options.
So bring a theater
Like a huge
life back.
theater. Yeah, theater life. I think that brought a lot of people down to get dinner first and then walk straight to the movie.
Yeah,
know.
yeah. It's
I
not a
miss
bad
it.
idea. Yeah, just some sort of performance venue entirely would be, I think,
yeah.
really helpful down at that inn for the sake of entertainment. Ever since House of Blues moved out, there really isn't a performance venue at downtown Disney anymore. Even if it was
Yeah.
like a large amphitheater that had some covering or something like that, just something to help pull people in. But I like the idea of a movie theater coming back. And Curt, we'll jump to you before we wrap things up. If you were to put something into downtown Disney that isn't there now, what would it be?
I want more restaurants, some places to eat. You know, like they got rid of quite a few of them.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily they did bring back Earl of Sandwich, so
Yeah,
that's always nice. But you know, like that side of the park or the end of downtown Disney is just really lacking, and I want something to really just bring me over there, and a good restaurant I think would really help in that matter. Some place nice to eat.
Yeah.
That you can wind out.
More
down
table
at.
service.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, bring on some more unique table service. I
Sure.
think, Tyler, you mentioned it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Like just another special table service restaurant would be really helpful.
Yeah, you know, any type of restaurant. Honestly, I would like there to be. We talked about it before on the show, but I would like there to be like an upscale food court.
Right.
You know, like
That's
I mean,
right.
the first thing that kept coming to my mind when you're asking what we would want is Polite Pig for some reason. Like, I want,
awesome! Yeah,
like a Polite Pig type of place would be amazing, where it's like sit down style food. I mean, you're gonna get amazing food, but it's a little easier to just go in and out as quick as you can. So I would like more stuff like that.
Yeah, certainly a restaurant that I always stop at Disney Springs when
Yeah.
I'm there in Walt Disney World. And hopefully we will see a revitalization of downtown Disney coming here very soon. Thank you all for your participation in this week's Disney List. You stick around. There's plenty more Kingdom Report Live next.
Do you know everything the ghost host is going to say before he says it? Are you ready to thank the Venetians each time you board Spaceship Earth? Can you recite Walt's opening day dedication speech? Then join the Kingdom team today, the influential Legacy fan community featuring exclusive merchandise that will alert all who've come to this happy place that you are more than just another guest. You are a trusted theme park fan. Don't miss out. Join the Kingdom team right now by visiting the homepage at kingdomreportlive.com. That's kingdomreportlive.com. And now, back to the magic.
We be tripping. It's our trip planning segment that we do every once in a while to help you better prepare for your Disney vacation. And today, it is all about Walt Disney World. It's a huge place. There's so much to know before you plan a trip there. It's overwhelming for most people, which is why we thought, hey, maybe it would be good to figure out what would have been very helpful to know prior to our first trip to Walt Disney World. That obviously, as seasoned veterans and experts of going to these Disney destinations that we know now. And so I figured, why not share the wealth and help folks understand that there are some things that you might not ever see at Walt Disney World that otherwise might be a great part of your vacation, and you might not see it because you just didn't know it was there. You just didn't understand that it was a part of the experience. It's so big, twice the size of Manhattan is Walt Disney World. Crazy to think about, you know, and as you drive around, you start to realize very quickly, as all of the freeway signs have mouse ears, that I'm not in Kansas anymore. So, Shirin, when it comes to what you wish you would have known before your first trip to Disney World, what comes to mind?
I get very lucky. I got very lucky because I went when I was 6. And I don't remember much.
Yeah.
But then I went many times as a cast member, and I had many cast member friends give me a lot of details, like things to do, things I should have known. So one of the things is like to take a full 5 days. That's something I only did 4. I'm like, one day each park, I'm good.
Right. That's smart.
But there's so much more to see.
Yeah.
So I think 5 days is like, that's the day you go back to a park that you wanted to look at more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely 5 days.
So do you think, because I've often thought about that too, and when I get people that ask me, and I always scale it based on obviously who's going, right, for the audience. So I sometimes will think, all right, if they're older and they can't get around as easy, I usually add 2 days to it for the sake of rest, you know, for the sake of just find some time to relax and do a resort day or something like that. Also allows you the opportunity to go home early on a certain day if you need to, and then go back later. But yeah, when it comes down to it, I think maybe the audience is a good thing to think about in that regard. But you know, if you're young and rugged like Shirin over here, and you're ready to take on the world, 5 days is good for you.
Yeah, we do like a red eye and then go straight into the park.
Oh, that's what I do. Atta girl.
I feel like that's the cast member way.
Yeah.
I think
Maximize.
Right.
Yeah.
if you're like a culinary person too, or somebody who likes to go out and get drinks or whatever, I think adding a couple days is important as well, because there's so much to do that's not in the parks too.
Right.
I mean, it's like incredible. There's more. I almost feel like there's more to do outside of the park sometimes than there is inside. It's like kind of crazy how much there is.
And Katrina being a known alcoholic, I'm sure that's really helpful for her.
Well, she's known classy. Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Known
So
to
we
be
use the term classy
Yeah.
to replace alcoholic. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, she definitely needs those extra days.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
No, good for her. Yeah. It's a relax there. What else is on your list?
I guess seasons, because I went in the middle of summer.
Oh,
like,
God.
July.
Oh, yep.
I was like, let's try it for the hours, you
Yeah.
know, like longer hours, more opportunities for experiences, because a lot of things are closed in January and February.
So you would say go during summer
No. I mean,
Oh,
well, here's the thing.
because of the extended hours. That's what I just got from it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But the heat was like too
Unbearable.
insane for me.
Sure.
I just could not. We left Epcot early. We went there for a few days. I'm not coming back tomorrow. Maybe I just am not used to humidity anymore. I would recommend going in January if you want to just like relax, enjoy, walk around,
Yeah.
be cool.
Little less in terms of crowds,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
even
Chillest
though
time.
a lot of things have changed in the Disney calendar year, really no off season anymore, and obviously Epcot having a festival every 10 minutes, so things have definitely changed there. But come January, I've noticed that like the first 2 weeks are dedicated to cast members from Disneyland going to Walt
Exactly.
Disney World.
Yeah, all my old friends from Disneyland are there, like right now.
Yeah,
And last week, that's the trip. You have to do it every year.
I'm not surprised. And
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. It's a great time to go. Weather usually very mild in January, if not a little chilly. You throw on a sweatshirt, but a lot less rain it tends to be in their winter, and a lot more during their summer and fall. So, it's also something to think about. I think a really good trip planning note there. But my first trip was in July, and I went with friends and they just said, "Oh, come along with us. We're Disney Vacation Club members. This will be great." So it was kind of like one of those trips where, I was incorporated into the group, and so I didn't really have any input on when we went. It was just we're going.
Sure.
Yeah. So I go. What a learning experience that was.
Yeah.
July
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a
in
lot.
Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Insanely
horrible.
busy, and it's just too warm.
Yeah, just disgusting. Yeah, you walk. You're basically spending your day trying to run in and out of air conditioning
yeah.
and trying to find places to rest.
Well, and the longer you're there too, the more that's going to drain you. Like
Yeah.
I was there. I was lucky enough. I've told this story before. I was lucky enough to go for a month when I was in 6th grade, and we got sick at like week 1.5 because it was so hot.
Yeah.
You're sweating so profusely, and then you go inside where they knock the temperature down to 60, and so you go from shivering to sweating over and over again, and it made us not feel good.
Makes a huge impact on you. Yeah, we went in February last year. A friend of mine and we went in February thinking it was going to be perfect, right? It was going to be a great time because it was between the holidays that fall in January and February that a lot of schools might be taking advantage of. So we were like, this will be great. She ended up getting so horribly sick because one day it was like 50 degrees and raining. The next day it jacked up to 80 all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then the next day was pouring on us, and the next day was super dry. She was sick the rest of the trip. She didn't get to enjoy anything. She was, horribly ill the rest of the time.
And the humidity just never lets you like center yourself.
Yeah.
You
You
never
get a
get to
chance.
get back to normal, It's always just like you leave the room and 5 minutes into your day you're feeling uncomfortable and there's no getting back to comfortable.
Exactly.
You're wading through pea soup the whole day. is
Yeah.
how it
And everyone
goes.
around you is just like, and we're all in this line waiting to go on the ride. And on the ride, we just thank goodness I'm in like some air conditioning. Or
Yeah,
I'm sitting or
Mhm.
something.
absolutely. Anything else on your list?
There was another. I can't think of it at the moment.
That's all right. We
Come
can always
back to
circle
me.
back to
Yeah.
you. Well, we can't talk about Walt Disney World and not jump out to our Walt Disney World reporter, Mr. Gared Hassel, who's standing by at Epcot right now. Mr. Hassel, when it comes to Disney World, you didn't grow up there. It's not something that you've always had in your backyard. So what do you wish you would have known before your first trip?
So I have two things. The first thing was something that was brought to my attention by my lovely girlfriend, Ariel. I did not know the significance and the importance of the resorts out here because out in Disneyland, you have the big three. You have the Grand Cal, you have Paradise Pier, and then you have the Disneyland Hotel. And I stayed at the Grand Californian once as a kid. I stayed at the Disneyland Hotel once as a kid, and then the Paradise Pier like once or twice. And so I didn't know how important the resorts are out here, not just because for housing, but just because of how much storytelling is involved in them. Say, for example, my girlfriend, her and her family stayed at the Beach Club Resort, and that is now my favorite resort just because of how well it is themed and just the overall feeling it creates. So knowing that every resort has a different feel and has a different is something I wish I would have known, because now I love going to the resorts. Like just like when Tyler and Katrina were out here, they spent a ton of time exploring their resort as well as the other ones. So I love the resorts out here now. They are truly unique, and they add a storytelling element, and that is where your vacation begins. You begin by entering this world as a resort, and then you go off to the four parks and 2 water parks.
Yep, destinations unto themselves, the resorts at Walt Disney World are. And Tyler, when it comes to some of the things you wish you would have known, what's on your list? What do you think?
So I think the first thing for me, and I feel like everybody's going to start thinking I'm like Mr. Moneybags or something, but
We know you are.
okay, thank
It's
you.
quite all right.
I just want everybody to know.
Yeah.
I think actually a really important thing to do is to think about possibly doing club level at one of these resorts.
Oh, swanky.
Because club level, for anybody that doesn't know, club level is basically there's a lounge area for you to relax. There's kind of hors d'oeuvres and drinks and, not mixed drinks or anything. I just mean like, Coca-Cola and things like that. And you can go and relax in these spots whenever you want to at your resort. And then on top of that, the people that work there are like the friendliest cast members I've ever met every single time. We have had some of the best experiences we've ever had just dealing with these specific cast members. They'll help you with whatever they can. They literally are like guest services cast members, so they know what, they know their way around trying to help you out and everything like that. They can get you reservations for things. They can give you advice for things. They can make special arrangements for you for a lot of different things.
It's like having an added caretaker to your trip.
Sure.
Yeah. Like having a nanny.
Sure.
On the trip. Basically.
Oh, I see what you mean. I'm like, where are they going to find a nanny? I didn't understand what you were saying at first. I was like, they're going to find a nanny? What are you
looking
talking
to
about?
them as a nanny, basically.
No,
support us.
Honestly, we just stayed in Grand Destino, and we went up. Their club is called the Kronos Club, and we were checked in by the manager of the club. His name is Aaron. He was the nicest guy in the world, and he made our stay just incredible. And I mean, I'll tell you, he upgraded our room just because we were friendly to him, just because he was like, you know what, I like you, give you guys an upgrade, like
Disney magic.
and so it's things like that where, we paid extra money to do this club thing, but at the same time, it made our experience so much better. And really, the bottom line is, if you're the type of person that needs to have something, like if you like to buy some groceries or whatever so you can have them in the room, this is one of those things where if you do this, you don't need the groceries because they have all the bottled water for you. They'll have breakfast. If you want to get out really quickly in the morning, you go run to get breakfast at the club, go to the theme parks. It's something to think about. It's an expensive offer. It adds a lot to the vacation, I understand, but it's just something to consider when you look at these things, because sometimes they have decent deals on them too, and it's like really not that much of an upcharge to get a nicer location for your room, have this nice lounge that you can hang out in, and sometimes you might not be feeling good and you might just want to go and hang out in the lounge. Like not every day you can go at 100 miles an hour when you're in Disney World. So
it adds that extra cushion.
It really does. And I know, like, again, it's a lot, but it's something to consider.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, very good. Anything else on your list?
So another one for me is, I think we were talking about the length of stay before, and I think if you are staying for any less than a week and a half, maybe, I would avoid the water parks.
Oh, interesting.
I wouldn't spend any time in the water parks if I were you, because they are not on the same level of experience as the other 4
Yeah.
theme parks to me. I mean, they're just not. They just don't meet that level. First of all, and then second of all, you'll be paying extra for them. A lot of what they like to do is include them in packages and stuff like that. Oh, if you buy this package, you can go to the water parks and you can do the NBA experience. Just so you know. And to me, don't pay that price. You don't need the water parks.
Yeah.
There's nothing exceptional about them.
Spend it on club level.
Honestly, if you're thinking of water parks or club level, I would do club level, even if you have kids, because with the kids, you can get them waters, sodas, cookies, whatever they need, you know, snacks all day long.
All those goodies, yeah.
Yeah, and I just the water parks are nice and all, but even when you consider down the road over at Universal Studios, they have Volcano Bay now, which to me is the best water park in all of
It was pretty spectacular.
Orlando.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to a water park, go do it at Universal. Personally, don't spend your money over at Disney, because even some of one of my favorite things they had at the water parks was at Typhoon Lagoon. They used to have this pool where you could swim with fish and sharks and stuff like that, and they tore that thing out. So the best thing they had, they got rid of. So they're small, they're not that fun. There's like a few rides to do, and then you're like, because it's wet and everything, it's gonna cost you extra time. So unless your kids really need to go, I wouldn't.
That's great advice. Shirin, have you ever been to one of the water parks at Disney World?
I have not since I was like 6.
Well, it might not
And
be
I
worth
don't
going. You
remember.
just got a tip. Yeah,
Thank
look at
you.
that.
I've learned a lot today.
If you're in
an
Disney
experience.
World for your one-time trip,
Yeah.
or like a once-in-a-lifetime thing, Blizzard Beach ain't gonna cut it for you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But should I do my last one? Or?
Yeah, go for it.
So my last one here is, I guess, more from the perspective of the young Tyler who grew up in Southern California, going to Disneyland all the time.
Country clubs and
Yeah, I know. Look
living
at this.
that life.
Look at this great.
painting the narrative.
I love that I've done this to myself. This is so nice.
Limos to where he
Yeah.
needs to be.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's my life.
Private jet to
You know
Orlando.
me.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to talk about the
Oh,
private jet.
sorry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, okay. But this is coming from the young Tyler, growing up in Southern California. When you go to Disney World, remember, there's no Matterhorn.
Right.
There is no Matterhorn Mountain in Disney World.
Yeah.
I went to Magic Kingdom as a young little sprout, and I was like,
Tiny Tyler.
I can't wait to go on Matterhorn. And they told me
no.
there is no
sad.
Matterhorn here. And you go in between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland, and you expect there to be something massive and amazing there, and it's just some teacups. So,
Disappointment.
That's kind of a joke one, but at the same time, yeah, like, remember that there are certain rides there that you may expect to be there that aren't there. You know, Indiana Jones, Radiator Springs Racers. I mean, they're not going to be at Disney World, so I don't know. That's just something to keep in mind, that
Expedition Everest doesn't make the list for you in terms of a good perhaps replacement for that. I know it's not Magic Kingdom, but
it is a good replacement. I just don't. I don't know. Yeah,
'cause
sure.
Obviously, we don't have an Expedition
But
Everest.
at
right?
the time, there was no Expedition Everest when I went.
Oh yes,
So-
because you were tiny Tyler.
because I was tiny. So actually, one of my first trips to Animal Kingdom, Asia wasn't even open yet.
Wow.
So
What was that park?
it was nothing. It was
tree of
there was-
life.
There was
That's it.
literally. I remember one of my favorite things was it's tough to be a bug.
Wow.
You know?
We've come a long way.
There was no Cali River Rapids or anything like that. Anyway, so yeah, those are my three.
Awesome.
Just remember to look at the rides you want to ride. Make sure that ride is there, because there is no Matterhorn.
You're going to be disappointed if you think there's a Matterhorn, that's for sure. Shirin, did you happen to recall your other one? What
actually.
was it?
It was just getting around.
Yeah.
So I didn't stay at I don't stay at the resort that much.
Mm-hmm.
I've only done that like maybe once or twice, because I tried to go on the cheaper side, cast member life at the time.
Yeah, sure.
College student.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed off property, and my Uber driver got lost. Like, they would get lost.
Oh.
'Cause the roads and exits are so far. You have to cross one way and then go to another. And if you accidentally miss it, you have to go 20 minutes and turn around. I would just stay on property. I think that's like a big thing I would say for your Disney World trip. I know most people do, but for those that are trying to save some money, just like spend the extra and stay on the property, so you can get the access to all the parks easier.
Yeah, the Disney
was
bus
just a mess.
transportation that comes along
Yeah.
with it.
And
yeah,
the level of service at Disney is just higher than many
Yeah.
other places too. I mean, yeah, you'll be paying a little bit more money. I mean, go to All Stars and because that
Exactly, yeah.
not only will you be in the ecosystem, the Disney ecosystem, which is worth the extra money, but you'll have the better experience. I mean, I've stayed at a couple of those hotels by downtown Disney that are not Disney hotels, and they don't have that level of service. They're not Disney.
Yeah.
You know, and when you go on a Disney vacation, you want to be in Disney. So.
Yeah, you definitely feel that impact.
It's worth it.
Mhm, you betcha. And some of those more budget-friendly resorts at the Disney property are now being renovated and getting overhauled. And the Disney's Pop Century Resort, one of the biggest ones, just recently went through a major rehab. Spectacular rooms now, very good. They up that quality by an amazing degree. Also, Disney's All-Star Movies Resorts just recently went through a pretty lengthy rehab. I think they're just about finished with all their wings at this point. And now it looks like Disney's All-Star Music is up next. Thank goodness, because you want to talk about hotel rooms that have been beaten to a pulp.
true.
These hotels, these more budget-friendly Disney hotels, really serve a clientele that a lot of times is like your cheer groups and your youth teams and stuff like
Or
that.
just
that come in
massive
and out.
families,
Yeah, and so they go through a lot of wear and tear, and Disney does their best to keep it top notch. But there are some hotels that have been around a while that definitely need the extra help. Yeah. Well, very good. That is the Disney list for this week. Stick around. Plenty more Kingdom Report Live next.
Hey, Kingdom Team, do you need more magic in your life? We understand, which is why we connect you to more of what makes you happy 3 times a week. Catch our theme park coverage, vlogs, and reviews every Tuesday and Thursday. And experience the Kingdom Report Live, streaming every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. That's new content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, crafted with you in mind. Don't miss out. Be sure to subscribe and activate notifications at The Kingdom Report on YouTube, and catch every update throughout the week at Kingdom Report Live on social media. See you there!
The One Thing. This week is all about one character dining experience that we enjoy the most at the Disneyland Resort. Joining us this week for The One Thing, our very good friend and former Disney cast member Shirin, and of course AttractionFaction.net's Tyler Crouch, and in Walt Disney World, Mr. Gared Hassel. We'll be jumping out to him here in just a moment. But before we do that, what, Shirin, might be your very favorite Disney character dining experience at the Disneyland Resort?
For a long time, it was Goofy's Kitchen, but then recently, it's the Plaza Inn.
Really?
Plaza Inn.
What changed your mind?
I think it's the character experience. Obviously, it's the characters. They're just. I think they're more excited. I don't know how to explain it. And also from PhotoPass, like I used to work at dining locations a lot, and their interactions with characters is just different inside Disneyland, rather than going to Goofy's Kitchen. Excuse me.
There's something pretty spectacular about starting your morning in the park and having the castle right there and having the characters with you in a Victorian era setting in a buffet style restaurant. And certainly the Plaza Inn seems to be that one location that just has like the most amount of characters too for a
you can
character
get any
dining.
character. It's a big surprise there.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's like a party.
Yeah.
Basically, you got Minnie Mouse, who's your centerpiece and who is going to be there, and then whoever else shows up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen everything there from Peter Pan to Alice in Wonderland to the Fairy Godmother. Captain Hook shows up. I've seen Gideon from Pinocchio.
I saw Max once.
I saw Piglet one
From
time.
Goofy?
Piglet,
And I
see,
was like,
you
that
never
never
know.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never happens. So
Yeah, Plaza Inn, huh?
yeah. And the castle is right there. You're right. Like I can get a 7 or 8 o'clock reservation. I get to walk down on Main Street before some people and get
Yep.
some breakfast and then be onward with my day.
It's pretty special. Absolutely. Well, Tyler, what about you? Favorite character dining in Disneyland?
Well, truthfully, I haven't done a couple of these things since they've changed them over. Like they moved Donald over to Paradise Pier and stuff, which I haven't seen that yet. But I'm just gonna have to go with kind of the old classic standby, which has been there forever. I'm gonna have to go with Goofy's Kitchen just because it's the one I've done the most.
Yeah.
And I think it has kind of the most interesting food too in a way. Like it's got a lot of classic little dishes. It's got the buffet style thing, but then on top of that, it's like they've just got like macaroni and cheese pizza and stuff like that, like weird stuff that only a goof could put together. So I love it. I love how you get to have the little picture with Goofy in the beginning when he's in his like chef outfit, and you get to take the picture in front of his little kitchen. And I think the one downside is that most of the time when you go there, Mickey's not there. I think if you want to go see Mickey, he's most of the time not going to be there. I've seen him there a couple times, but
he hangs out at dinner now at Goofy's Kitchen.
Does he hang out at dinner?
Yeah,
oh,
that's
okay.
his
So he
home
is
is at
there
dinner.
during dinner. Okay. So I didn't know that because when I went before, I thought it was like a special occasion thing that he would show up occasionally. But
For
anyway.
a very long period of time, he was not a part of the experience at all.
Right.
And then he popped up one night at dinner, and he stuck around a while as a visiting celebrity chef.
Sure.
That's what he did. Yeah.
But, I just like the whole idea of Goofy is just doesn't know what the heck he's doing in the kitchen, but he somehow puts it together, and I just think that's a lot of fun.
And in recent years, the story of Goofy's Kitchen has sort of evolved, which I think is a lot of fun. And now, as you walk in, on the wall there are some portraits of the staff, basically. So there's pictures of Minnie Mouse, and she has a role as, I think, the pastry chef or something like that. And then you have Pluto and Chip and Dale, and you've got server characters, and you've got everybody sort of playing a role within the kitchen, which is a lot of fun. There was an era where many years ago, before they kind of switched over to that storyline, where you used to, much like Plaza Inn, you would go into Goofy's Kitchen. Sometimes you would see Aladdin and Jasmine all of a sudden. And you never knew who was going to be there. Now there's sort of a more cohesive storyline, I guess, for the kitchen itself. And now it's you know what you're going to get for the most part. Every once in a while, Donald shows up and surprises people.
Oh, I've never seen him there.
Yeah. Sometimes he'll fill in and make an appearance.
Sure.
But yeah, for the most part, it sounds like Mickey is hanging out at nighttime for the dinner service, and then you've got your other standard sort of Fab Five characters during the day.
Yeah. I mean, I will say too that when I went to last time I went to Goofy's Kitchen, we went with Katrina's niece and nephew, and just to see them so excited to see these characters walking by, I mean, it was probably the highlight of the day for me almost, because just to see their smiles, and a lot of people go, wow, that's expensive for dinner or lunch or whatever, but honestly, you're paying to have these interactions with the characters too. So I mean, and it makes it so easy, compared to spending all your time going to the parks and waiting in line for each individual character. Just do a character dining. It's just nice.
Yeah, you touched on the price there. That's certainly something to think about. Obviously, character dining is not cheap, and if you go in for breakfast, a little bit cheaper than what you might experience at dinner. Dinner usually is another $15 a head or something like that, and typically you'll find upper 20s, low 30s for breakfast, and then closer to the 40 somewhere in there mark. Sometimes even 50 during peak seasons, depending on the restaurant. So per head, it is a lot of money. So we would definitely want to make sure people understand that character dining experiences, probably not something you could do every meal for the sake of saving a buck, but definitely something that is worth the experience for the sake of time, and if you have children or if you're a big kid at heart and you want to go experience those characters and not have to wait, they come right to you. Let's jump out to Walt Disney World and a kid at heart that we all know. Gared Hassel is standing by at EPCOT. Gared, when you think about character dining experiences at Disneyland, have you been able to go to many, or do you have any experiences you want to share?
Honestly, I have gone to some in the past, but for the most part, like when I would go there, I only went to a few as a kid, just because across the street there's Subway, McDonald's, and then you have downtown Disney with all its amazing options. So whenever I would usually eat, I'd leave the park. But hearing everyone talking, and then also speaking with you this past week, I thought of a restaurant that is no longer around, known as Ariel's Grotto. Where Paradise Pier used to be. Now it's Pixar Pier. What's it called now?
It's Pixar Pier now.
Oh, no, I meant like the restaurant.
Oh.
Lamplight.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
It's been converted to a Pixar Lamplight theme, yeah.
Yeah, but when it was Ariel's Grotto, I remember I went there, I think it was like lunch or the afternoon, and You had Chip and Dale in little sailors outfit, and you had Donald and Mickey there. And for me, the most profound thing happened where Chip and Dale, being mischievous little chipmunks, they started pranking each other. They would go, they would pick up like sugar packets and try and put it in each other's hat without the other one noticing. And
Silly chipmunks.
They did this for 5 minutes, and I was on the ground floor where I'm looking into, I guess, the water where they did World of Color, and I was just laughing so hard because these characters were just messing with each other, were having so much fun. And then Donald gets over there and he like starts stomping his feet, and then Mickey trying to. It just became this orchestra of zany characterness, and I absolutely loved every second of it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Ariel's Grotto, certainly it sounds like the time that you had visited hadn't quite become the epicenter for all things princesses at that point, and definitely had a few more eclectic characters in which to enjoy. It later became a all things princess dining experience, and up until, I believe it was 2018, it was something that a lot of people really enjoyed. A great place to, take the kids and take your tiny princesses to go enjoy, and your little knights to get to experience all the princesses firsthand. And now I know that the majority of the princesses have moved over to the Napa Rose restaurant, sort of the crown jewel experience at the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa. And it's only on select days, it sounds like, too. So it's not even every day of the week. And you want to talk about an expense. Yeah. Whoa. You are paying for that experience, that's for sure. Haven't been able to experience the Napa Rose one myself since it opened because it runs such a limited schedule. But I hear great things about it in terms of the overall experience and getting access to the princesses, because the restaurant is a rather intimate environment. And it's not like, say, your Plaza Inn that has 300 some odd tables and, is indoors, outdoors, all over the place, and you have characters everywhere. You really get your time with the princesses at the Napa Rose. And I know that Ariel's Grotto, especially for Shirin and I, we spent a lot of our time there as Disney cast members, and very, very special place.
Yeah, I miss it.
I do too. Yeah, it'll never be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will never look at it the same way, that's for sure. And Curt, when it comes to character dining in your life, what do you most enjoy at Disneyland?
It'd probably be Goofy's Kitchen for me too.
You're a Goofy's guy?
Yeah, I really like Goofy's Kitchen. I just like how excited and how they bring up the energy. At one point, you're like twirling a napkin, and
Yep.
it's so much fun. The only problem I have with it now is that they've moved the security checkpoint like to right in front of the hotel.
Right.
So now you have to go through the security checkpoint, or to go back into downtown Disney, you have to go through that, which I think is kind of a bummer, but I guess a necessary step because of things.
Because of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, not everywhere in life is magical. Curt, I'm sorry.
I can dream.
Yeah, we have to protect it.
Yeah.
So I would say for me, when it comes to character dining, especially having been in a position where I was responsible for all things character dining at one point at the Disneyland Resort, I have a very unique take on this. I would say the PCH Grill at Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel, a restaurant that has Donald Duck's seaside breakfast. It's gone through a lot of incarnations over time, and definitely been toyed with. At one point was Mickey's Surf's Up breakfast. Mm-hmm. Mickey has moved across the street, so if you're looking for things exclusively to Mickey Mouse, you would want to go to the Storyteller's Breakfast at Storyteller's Cafe with Mickey and friends. But now Donald Duck has replaced Mickey at PCH Grill, and it's Donald, and it's Stitch, and Daisy, and Minnie, and sometimes you'll see Pluto there, and so it's a restaurant that I recommend for the very same reason why I recommend this restaurant in other discussions, and that is it's off the beaten path. Nobody seems to think about it. It's a very easy reservation. Not that it's poor or bad or an experience not worth pursuing. It's just so tucked out of the way, I think it's forgotten about most of the time. The food is great. The cast members are terrific. And the experience overall with the characters is second to none. They spend so much time with you because the restaurant is never really all that full. Unless you're going during a peak time of year where they're going to max out reservations at every restaurant inside of the Disneyland Resort. This place, I have had more amazing character interactions as a guest just sitting there eating than at any other restaurant that I've been a part of. And I at one time was responsible for the Plaza Inn, right? That was my restaurant. That was my breakfast. I was responsible for that. And I had a great time with those characters as well. But can I tell you that the added touch of intimacy that those characters bring at PCH Grill is second to none in all the other restaurants at Disneyland Resort right now in terms of character dining. So highly recommend PCH Grill. The price points are usually a little bit cheaper too because it is less sought after. And so I definitely think that that might just be the sleeper hit that people don't think about. Yeah,
I'd believe it.
Yeah, it's also a place that, as I had mentioned not too long ago, I go for Thanksgiving dinner to PCH Grill every year. Yeah, and so that is a tradition of mine now. And even Thanksgiving dinner, is it busy? Yes, I'll usually go around 1 or 2 o'clock when you want to do Thanksgiving dinner. Absolutely. I'll usually go 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And even though there's a line to get to the food sometimes, they still have the characters there for Thanksgiving dinner. And that's not something they typically do at night during the rest of the calendar year. It's usually just a breakfast. But the dinner transforms into just a buffet only during the traditional calendar year. But Thanksgiving dinner, they bring out those characters in their Surf's Up attire. Excuse me, not safari. Surf's Up attire with their beach bodies and their hats and a big straw hat for Donald and his flip flops and all those goodies. So definitely a place to check.
I always think about Donald's beach body.
Don't you?
Yeah.
His dad bod beach bod.
Is he a dad?
I mean,
He's an uncle.
he is an uncle. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. That's for sure. He has a dad bod. So
Sure.
yeah. There's something to it there. At any rate, that concludes the one thing for this week. Well, that brings us to the close of today's broadcast. It goes by quick. Shirin, where can people find out more about you? And tell us just a little bit about yourself here at the end. What should the Kingdom Report know about little old you?
I guess Disney changed my life.
Yeah.
Right? So it's my first job out of high school. It was going to be my college job. And I stuck with it for 5 years, even after not 5 years after I graduated, 5 years total, a year after I graduated college. And I wasn't a huge Disney fan before that. And then I just applied. I was like, why not? I'm a photographer. Let's see what happens. And then it turned into this whole community and family that I got to choose and love and learn a lot from.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be so interested in leadership and growth if it weren't for this company and the people that I was surrounded by.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of my life now. I'm an annual pass holder, so
Yeah.
I can't
Super
stay
fan.
away. I took a year off from going, and then I was like, I'm back.
Can't stay away too long.
You can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is not easy. I apologize. Lots of R's, lots of I's. S. Haririnia. So
However you say that.
I mean, it's okay. You don't.
Fortunately,
have to,
it's on screen now, so everyone
just take a screenshot or whatever you'd like to do. But yeah, now I work in fashion and I get to mix Disney with fashion. It's my new thing. I'm excited.
Amazing. Yeah, former Disney cast member, current fashionista right here. That's right. How about that? And Tyler, what's going on at attractionfaction.net this week? What should we know?
I was wrong about last week. I said Lunar New Year was happening at Universal Studios, but that's not happening till later this month.
You're so full of it.
I know. Thank you. I'm sorry. So on the 23rd, I'll be going to do some Lunar New Year stuff over there at Universal Studios. And besides that, there's not much going on. Katrina's still out of town.
Yeah,
You
she's
miss her?
still in Italy, dealing with
she's
the
in-
aftermath of some guy named Mysterio and the children on there.
Going through this joke again. Like,
I don't know.
Curt is already like, oh God, not again.
He's far from
I
home,
find
right?
it hilarious. Keep doing it. In fact, you should do it even when she's here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, to protecting that class from Queen. She gives a lot of herself.
Yeah, it was funnier this second time than it was the first time.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. No.
Wait until the third and fourth.
Yeah.
We certainly miss Katrina and appreciate all of her posts and all of her updates, and definitely know that she's getting some good family time in over there in Italy, and we hope to see her back very soon.
She had mimosas this morning, so I guess
naturally,
like an alcoholic would, like you were saying. So,
like an alcoholic would.
I call it classy, you call it alcoholism.
I just call it what it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Shirin, thank you for joining us and being a part of the broadcast today.
Thank you.
Tyler, Curt, and of course, Gared, always a big thanks to everybody for their participation. And remember, when it comes to the legacy of Walt Disney, it lives on because of people like you and me. We'll see you next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific for another Kingdom Report Live.